So first thing we will be talking about is functions, and then modules, files, input, output, exceptions, and finally object-oriented programming. So before we start, connect to internet please, and then go to this file and download it. So if you enter this into your browser, it will automatically download this file that is called master-zip, and then unzip it into your desktop. So if you want to see the content of these PPT files, or you want to run some of the examples that we have, then you'll find everything in that folder. So first thing we'll be talking about on this video is functions. Now, what are functions? Well, in effect, functions are little self-contained programs that perform a specific task, which you can incorporate into your own larger programs. After you have created a function, you can use it anytime in any place. This saves you the time and effort of having to retell the computer what to do every time it does a common task. For example, getting the user to type something in, or as you can see on the slides, calculate the factorial of a number, or reverse a string. So these are not too complicated tasks, but they are time consuming. So if we could write a function to do that, then it will be much quicker and applied as many times as we want and anywhere we want. The first thing we will be talking about in this slides though is built-in functions, because they are easier to use. So the Python interpreter has a number of functions that are always available for use. These functions are called built-in functions. For example, print, int, as you can see here on the slides, we have open and then string. So for example, as we said before, print function prints the given object to the standard output device screen, or to the text string file. So usually we use print, as you used it before during Hello World experiment. You can see the Hello World printed on the console. On this link here, you can find Python latest version, which contains 68 built-in functions. They are listed alphabetically along with a brief description. So if you feel like you want to know more about this, and then go ahead and just open it. As you can see here on the files, I have the website here, and you can see that all the built-in functions are here, and the description right next to it. It is pretty easy to understand these built-in functions, because, for example, this absolute returns an absolute value of a number, etc. Like, you can just use them or test them by yourself. Now back to the function part. So this is the part where we define the function. So as you can see here, we have this small term that stands for definition or define, that defines a function. Here we have a name, a function name, and the arguments that come with it. So the arguments have parentheses around them and a colon at the end. Well, the colon means that the next part will be a new block, which, as you can see here, is indented with the previous line. So here we have the core of the function, and here we have a return statement. So the column, the function code, and the keyword return that returns something. So all of this, the define in the orange, return in orange, and the parentheses and column always stay the same, but the content of the function changes usually. Return is not always necessary, but if it's necessary, we have to write this return statement. I will show later in the example that return is not always necessary. So our first example is example 1. In this example, we have a function named hello world, as you can see here, that takes no arguments. As you can see, it's empty, and returns nothing, but still has a core. As you can see, there is no return statement, which means this function is doing something. In this case, it is printing hello world on the console.